What's your initial thoughts after the defeat this afternoon?
Well, we're disappointed, obviously, Billy. You know what I mean? It's one of them games that, you know, it seemed as though nothing was going to go right from us right from the off, and then when we change, we gamble, we go 4-4-2. What we do is we open the pitch up even more to a counter-attack, and that's what you do. Sometimes you gamble, it works, and you go and get back into the game, or you don't. And the case today was we didn't.
The second goal, the timing, I guess, was unfortunate after making those subs and to concede so quickly.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, it's always a gamble when you make subs. Some of them come off and some of them don't. And, you know, it just happens. And there's no rhyme, no reason behind it sometimes, but it just happens.
How much credit goes to Fylde and Longwell for how organised the team were? How they're well disciplined, they kept the shape so well?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much of the ball they had today, but they were well disciplined. And then worked on the basis of a counter-attack, because that's how they've got their goals, from that and from restarts. But, you know, all credit to Dave anyway. You know, Dave will always be a friend of mine, and all credit's got to go to him, his staff and his players today, because, you know, they've won the game, and, you know, best of luck to them going forward.
The last week against Halifax, you were the better team. I think rightly you said that today. Is it today one of those you just got to brush yourself down and it's one of those games?
Well, if you still look at it, I mean, you know, we were still dominant in large parts of that game without the moment happening, if you know what I mean. You know, so it can happen, and we've had lots of good times this season, and you know, we end up with these games and they're going to be awkward now between now and the end of the season. So yeah, you know, whilst a disappointment, you know, I think the lads, funny enough, they were actually better in the second half than they were in the first half. In the first half we had a lot of what I would call good possession in and around the times, but didn't perhaps make the most of it. It's one of them games really where you want to go 1-0 up in, because then they have to come out even more, so it makes it awkward. But, you know, it's what can happen in football.
How's Liam Serkin went off injured in the first half?
Yeah, you know, we thought that groin of his had settled down a little bit, but obviously it hasn't, and yeah, that's caused him a little bit of a problem. When maybe we have to get that scanned this week and see where he is. We had him ultrasound scan last week to see if he'd had a hernia. We didn't, because sometimes a hernia can relate to a bit of groin pain. So we need to get to the bottom of that.
You had a word with some of the fans after the full-time whistle. It seems to be a vocal minority where the majority of fans just seem to be backing your team.
Yeah, you know, look, I don't like it when I feel as though, you know, there was a little pocket, and I think they, you know, it seems to be like it's like a very young generation. And the boys come back to me on time to time, and I think it's been maybe a same few, and I can't have them, you know, when I think that they're being, I don't know, sung bad things to them, like they're not very good or whatever like this, because all it does is it ends up all the work you do in the week goes out the window, because, you know, until you've ever played the game out there, you never know what it's quite like. So, you know, I think I don't know where they would have been for the last couple of years, but, you know, this club hasn't been in a very good place for a couple of years, but it hasn't done bad this year. So, you know, we can have off games from time to time, and that's going to happen. But, you know, I know what the players are like. I know what they've given the club, and what they continue to do for the club. So, you know, I'll always stand on board with the lads. I'll always do that.